of Youth Affairs and Civil Education as far as the Youth 3 years youth plan project is concerned, as they were decrying the package that was recently given to the Northwest region on a list filled by Francophone name. The Anglophone newspaper decried the fact that if this money was assigned to develop the Northwest community or to help Anglophone as sundry, then note should be taken that more and more Francophone have taken over and the Anglophone fraction is almost missing. Mr. Ngaten, you definitely has followed the ministerial gesture as far as youth project is concerned. It's a project that has been on for some time. On the early hours of this project, they announced some 3 billion. And we have seen the Minister of Youth Affairs, Mr. Monona Fosso, going from one region to the other, giving out this award. Do you have the impression, as a newspaper title, that the case of the Bamenda cake has been seized by Francophones?
Mr. Cyril, I just want to say that to begin with, the 3 years project was initiated for young people who have projects to develop their local communities, and young people applied across the country, particularly the Northwest and Southwest, and they went through various scrutiny and some were selected finally. And it was turn for the minister to go around the nation awarding these projects. So the minister was in Douala on the 30th of October. He was supposed to be here on the 31st, but given the national mourning that was decreed by the president in memory of the young people who died in Kumbaso, the minister had to finish from Douala and come here
to
Boya. And many young people like myself were awarded ranging from 1 million to about 6 million francs. Those who had lucrative projects that could bring development to their local community. You know that when we talk about development, it begins from the local communities. Not long from that, being one of those who were very happy that the government had that gesture, not long from that, I started seeing the newspaper raising issues about the minister diverting funds or the attempts to divert funds raising issues. I don't want to base my mind on that particular. You know, media has power. Media can set agenda. I just want to say that some young people were awarded. Some young people, those who had projects, some applied, some were not taken. So, getting into the issue of whether the funds were diverted to go to Francophones, I don't want to get into it because I feel like those who were qualified, the Anglophones who were qualified for the project in the Southwest and as the Northwest were rewarded.
Are you saying that this smoke is coming without fire, Mr. Ngate?
Mr. Cyril, you know the power of the media. You know what the media says. They might just be diverting. I think that young people were to begin with, the projects were not meant only for the Northwest and Southwest.
Right.
So
it was for the 10 regions.
It was for the 10 regions. So why do they think that most of the funds have been diverted?
The press gave an evidence that the list that the minister was awarding in Bamenda had in majority. I don't know how majority is reflected, but that the majority actually had carried French name. I don't know how we measure French name in this country.
Cyril, to begin with, are there not Francophones living in Bamenda?
They are.
Would they know if the projects are awarded in Bamenda, would they not develop Bamenda?
Mr. Ngate, I thought I was the one asking questions on this platform.
No, I just want to, we are in a situation where projects are not awarded based on tribal lines. Okay. Projects are awarded based on the fact that they can develop the region and the nation. Right. Okay, for example, let's take for example, the media is raising questions. So you want that, or the media wants that, if there were 100 young people who are staying in Bamenda, 80 of them are Francophones, and they apply for projects that can develop Bamenda, they should forget about these 100 young people because they are coming from the French zone. They should give people who don't even have projects. They should just bring names of those who don't have projects because they are Anglophones.
They can pass through the church and identify Anglophone-born children if truly they want this project to have, reach down impact.
Mr. Moderator, the projects were not meant on the basis of regional balance or whatever. The project was meant for young Cameroonians who can develop community projects that will develop our nation. I'm of the opinion that setting that kind of agenda is not good. If I were awarding the project, if I see a Francophone that has a good project, I will take him. I will not award a good project to an Anglophone simply because it's an Anglophone.
After you,
Yes.
Mr. Ngate, Mr. Bless, if we go by that spirit, we are going to denounce also the fact that some people from the Northwest were awarded project in the Southwest. Can we follow that tribal line and make meaning out of it?
Mr. Moderator, I don't think we follow tribal line, but I will be a little bit different with my co-panelists. When the newspaper say most of the names of those that were award project in the Northwest have been tampered with, following the list. They have an evidence from the list. And before saying so, we know media used to propagate.
Right.
They propagate agenda. Okay. But when we see issues like this, we should look at it very critical. We should put our political lenses and look at it, how it works. Now, I would like to analyze this way. Now, I'm a nationalistic somebody. Okay. I'm for Cameroon. I'm not for Bakosi, okay. Not Bakweri. Okay. But the problem is, Bamenda is an English-speaking region, right?
Right.
And do you want to tell me Francophones are not dominating in Bamenda in terms of position and population? Okay. And do you want to tell me that they are so intelligent in such a manner that only their name have to appear? I'm not saying that in Bamenda they should not award them project. Sure. They were supposed to award that project. And even the day that the minister was in Douala and were to come to Buea, I was present. Okay. As a young Cameroonian.
You also benefited?
I never benefited. But I did not apply. I had no project. Okay. I went there because I'm a member in National Youth Council. Okay. So we were invited. So the problem is, it is not how many Francophones were taken, but how credible the project is. And if we are seeing the post coming with this thing, remember Cameroon is a law country. You do not propagate what you don't have facts, because you will go down for. You will take your responsibility. So if the post is coming with the fact that most of the names on the list are French-speaking names, then something must have happened, because there's no smoke without fire. Yes.
After you, Mr. Ngate, to further mature reflection on this issue raised by the Guardian Post, do you really think that if they were right, what would be the immediate consequences of the minister awarding much award to Francophone children than Anglophone children?
To begin with, if that's the case, then it was not, those projects were not meant to be distributed like that. Okay. That's not the president's view, or that's not even the nation's view. The project were meant to be distributed to those who have projects. Yes. And if that were the case, then I will blame those who are at the local level. Okay. The minister is in Yaoundé. He has those who are the ministry of the delegates at the Ministry of Youth. So putting the blame on the minister, it's quite a burden.
Has the time between registration and award not been too long that it has almost fit the system? Like, these people who register, who are beneficial today, I remember they registered since 2017. And it's today that the money is coming. Don't you think it might have cost this fallibility that we are now raising and that the press is raising?
Mr. Cyril, I believe you have worked on projects and you know what it means to apply for projects. People apply for projects and it takes even 5 years. I believe you know so.
Are you justifying?
No, I'm not justifying. I'm not in any way justifying anything that went wrong. But I'm refusing to see an error in every other thing. That's just my point. Because we as Cameroonians, we don't want to play our part, yet we want to see errors in whatever the government does. Who is the government?
But if the general malaise is there, why should people not decry the fact that families have been ravished in the Northwest? So at least if that money is to come and help the household, at least let it benefit but the Anglophone born. Is it an exaggeration to pose that problem?
I think that to begin with, I just think that I want to applaud the government. I did not benefit. I did not apply.
You started by telling us that you were
yeah, when I say part of those, it's Netenga. I was there on the event. Okay. I did not benefit. I did not apply. Okay. But I want to laud the government in times like this for bringing that initiative. I want to laud the government for my friends in the NGO and maybe in the business fair who are benefiting. I refuse to see error in everything. Yes. So I want to see the effort. I want to laud the effort. And I think that they should continue doing what they did. And they should better what they did.
After you, Mr. Bless, how sustainable can this project that have just benefited for some 3 million, 6 and so on be within the Northwest and the Southwest, still within, hotspot of violence and the war, I might say so?
Mr. Cyril, before I answer that question, I would like to tell my co-panelists that why is the post raising issues? The Guardian Post raising issues only in the Northwest. Why not in Douala?
He says he doesn't want to see problem anywhere.
No, I am not seeing problem anywhere.
Yes.
Both of us are positive Cameroonians.
Yes.
We are not seeing problems anywhere. But I want us to see the intricacies when project is overdue. Okay. You see potholes start coming in.
Okay.
That is what I want to say here. Now, it did not happen in Douala because it was managed like this.
Okay.
With the current advantage, this is my own view, the current sociopolitical crisis in Bamenda, that is why more Francophone names are appearing there than Anglophone names. Okay. To my own point of view, now these two regions...
Are you saying that Bullet select the kind of people he kills and that is why Francophones are more in the
you just said there are so many hot zones.
Okay.
And when in a situation where we have hot zones, we also have host community. Okay. And if Francophones are working in Bamenda, which they are doing, they will definitely be in host zone, which they will have access to apply for the project. Okay. Now, those that are supposed to be in the hot zones, they will not have the availability to apply for this project. That is the when I say we put on political lenses, that is the kind of argument that we fix a part and put it through. And now, coming back to your question.
Yes. How sustainable will these awards be?
Now, last time we were talking here, I tried to say a system that does not flow, a system that the input and the output does not flow at the same time has a problem.
Are you saying that now, the money was for corruption?
No, I'm not saying so. Let me explain myself. A system that does not flow, it means if a system is full with favoritism, nepotism, tribalism, and because you speak French or English, that is how the project are going to be. They will not, because of the fact that your father is a mayor or a government delegate, and because of that godfather, their name entered the project, you will not know the magnitude of which government is giving you that money.
Mr. Bless, do you have names whose parents are within the government parameter who benefited from the project?
I don't have names.
Mr. Moderator,
yes.
Can I, Mr. Moderator,
yes,
can I
go on, Mr. Gate.
Like I said, we want to blame the government for anything. If you see in that list, particularly, if you see in the list in Bamenda and the list in Boya, you will discover that there are young guys there who practically know nobody, who have nobody, but with the seriousness of their project.
Just as Mr. Bless is saying that the major, they
consider
a very minute
okay, let me
percentage on the list.
Let me come to sustainability. Let me quote you an example. Okay. You are well known for.
We are not yet talking
about.
No,
I'm not talking about you.
Let's focus on beneficiaries of this award today. That how sustainable would their project be within the war we are having?
Sustainability will not depend on the government. We like to put every other thing on the government. Young guys every year win Tony Olumelo, even in the heart of this crisis. Some of them are sustainable in the same hot zones. There are projects that are sustainable in Bamenda and the projects that are sustainable in Boya.
I'll be back to you, Mr. Ngate. Mr. Bless, you have the floor. You seize the floor. You seize the floor for Mr. I'll be back to you, Mr. Ngate. Yes, Mr. Bless. Talking about the sustainability of the project.
Mr. Moderator, in a panel like this, I would like that we respect each other time of discussion. Yes. I respect your philosophy and you respect mine.
True.
Right?
True.
I will not lay blames on you because you are
Right
not
on,
seeing
Mr.
anything,
Bless.
no?
It's your time
Now,
that you are
the
talking.
problem is, I was not saying that the project will not be sustainable.
Okay.
Some project will be sustainable and some project will not be sustainable. Even the government in Cameroon have not gotten everything she wanted. Okay. Let me just say, since the creation of Cameroon. Then what about individuals like us that we have so many failures or loopholes around us? Now, I was trying to say that a child that gained that project because of a godfather will not know how difficult to spend sleepless nights to apply for a project than those that took that project on meritocracy. Okay. That is what I was trying to say. Those that acquired that project because of somebody, I bet you, Mr. Cyril, go down to the fee. You will not see anything. There will be no but those that they really burn their midnight candles to apply for this project to make Cameroon a better place tomorrow, they will go ahead. The problem now depends on the individual. What were your vision? What were your focus that you were applying for that project? Is it to take the money from the government and sit in the bars and drink? Because most of us youth, we drink in the bar restlessly. Okay. So what I'm talking about the youth, right? I must not say I don't blame the government, but the way I speak, the government or the individual or the population will know where I stand. Okay. Now, I'm saying that those handling this project should try their utmost best to sustain the project because I know us Cameroonians will sit in the night. Your position has been understood, Mr. Thank you very much.
Mr. Blaise. Mr. Ngaten, we are moving out of these comments of the Guardian post. And I want to ask you again about the sustainability. I know your position about the sustainability, but now to move out of it, what recommendation do you give to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education to avoid this tagging that the Guardian Post is tagging them on their transparency as far as redistributing these resources is concerned?
To the ministry, to the minister, and maybe to the ministry, I'll tell them to be more vigilant. Okay. Yes, to be more vigilant because since we are in a case of they say power to the people, okay, decentralization, the minister would have simply allowed the various regional delegations. Okay. Yes, the minister will not come from Yaoundé to. If he does from Yaoundé, they will say everything is centralized.
Are you talking about another Cameroon or this?
I'm talking about this Cameroon. Okay. I'm talking about this Cameroon. Okay. This particular ministry, if you are talking about a ministry that is not working, it's not this particular ministry. Okay. This minister is working and is known for doing good work. Okay. Anglophones, Francophones, everybody can testify. He is always there, Minister close. Yes, yeah. Fosu is always there, close to young people. So to tag him this way for me.
How many times has he been in the northwest and the southwest?
How many times has he been in the
face of the war?
He has been there.
Okay.
Not many times, but he has been there.
And we'll take now the second paper. The Sun newspaper equally came out powerfully, announcing the lawyers on strike from November 30th to December 4th, as there is now evidence of a scheme to persecute lawyers treated as miscreants, appearances on criminal issues, and the courts are now suspended till further notice, and further counsel judicial honors for late Bâtonnier Pati Chakunte Charles. On the same paper, Faco Lawyers Association now have a new executive headed by Barrister Asso Epe, and the CPDM was to engage proximity campaign ahead the December the 6th election. I want to start with you now, Mr. Blaise, to ask you, what do you make of the recent outing of the Cameroon Bar Association as far as lawyers' profession is concerned in Cameroon?
Now, last time, Mr. C, I said Cameroon is a law country. It's a country that law is being practicalized.
There is rule of law.
There's rule of law. Thank you very much. But now, when you see the following uprising that are directed to lawyers, you will see that there's some political quagmire that need not to be explained by some people that don't see it, right? Now, the problem is, for example, Professor Maurice Kamto is a lawyer. Okay. He has been under arrest, house arrest for 2 months.
60 days.
60 days. Now, 4 of his lawyers, which are practicing, like him under his party.
Top officials
of the CRM. Yeah, thank you. They have been detained. I don't know if they have been hearing in court. Now, the problem is, Cameroon is a lawful country, but you don't detain somebody unlawfully.
Professor Famendego came out and answered to Professor Maurice Kamto, telling him that the fact that we are in a rule of law does not mean that people should go about defying the rule of the law. If they dare attack the law, they are going to be tried and jailed. Professor Famendongo was very clear on his words.
Which is very true. Okay. Which is very true. But now, let's take for instance that Professor Maurice Kamto went on travelers. Okay. Now, what about the 4 or 5 lawyers that have been detained? I'll give you another example.
The case, for example,
Barrister Michelle Doki.
Okay.
He was arrested. She was arrested. Thank you. Okay. She was arrested from Edina.
Yes. And
she was detained.
Yes.
When she was released, she was asked not to travel out of this country. True. But she has been traveling out of this country more than 3 times. Yes. But when she went back, I think that was yesterday, to Edina, on her way coming back, they arrested her.
But she has been released, Mr. Bless.
Yes, she has been released. But the question is, are they telling us that Edina is another country inside a country, or Edina is a country on air, or Edina is a foreign country in Cameroon? That you ask somebody not to travel, somebody will travel as you release her, but travel to Edina, you arrested her and questioned her.
And she was on humanitarian activities. After you, I want to equally bring Q Mr. Ngate into this line of discussion to ask about the Cameroon Bar Association now decided that they are not going to pay the judiciary honor to late Bâtonnier Party Chakunte Charles. What do you make of that news?
Before coming on that, I want to just cue in.
Okay.
It's very common to hear that lawyers, Cameroon is a rule of law, lawyers' rights are not respected. Oftentimes we talk only about rights. We forget that there are responsibilities and duties. You are very, very much aware of the instance at Bonanjo. Yeah. You know what happened before that.
No, tell us, Mr. Ngate. We can bring back that debate. What happened?
It's a very shameful thing to even imagine what happened. So-called, one of the guys who was convened had to give a statement that lawyers collected 3 million from him to help him intervene on his behalf.
Yes.
With the judge. But when it did not succeed, he went back now to the judge, and the judge was surprised that just imagine that lawyers.
But the Bar Council said that could be an allegation and that they were to open investigation in that file. As it stands, they have not produced the final investigation on it. So on what grounds do you hold that argument, Mr. Ngate?
I very much enjoy every other thing that happens now. When it concerns the government, we are so quick to believe. When it concerns...
No, you are there to defend. You can defend your point, Mr. Ngate. You can defend your point.
When it concerns the other party, we start talking about let us investigate. When it concerns the government, we sing it everywhere. The media takes it, every other thing takes it. When it concerns the other party, we have to investigate. The
assault on lawyers was physical. We all saw it. How tear gas were meted on them and their swollen faces. We saw that with the media, but we are saying that the issue of the 3 million alleged to have been bribed, alleged to have been money to bribe the judge, is still under investigation, and we cannot make voice on it. And I'm asking you, do you have proof that the lawyer attempted to bribe the judge?
No one has encouraged or no one is accepting the physical assault on the lawyers. What I said here, lawyers have rights, not only rights, but rights and responsibilities to the state, to law. That's what I'm saying. No one, it was a wrong thing because, you send people on duty posts and they make mistakes at times. Yeah. So I will not glorify what the assault on the lawyers. But I'm simply saying that the more lawyers go into to cry for their rights, they should also know they have duties to the state and to the rule of law.
Mr. Ngate, what's the implication of cancelling the judicial honor that was made for late Bâtonnier Party Chakunte Charles?
Practically, I for one, I will not cancel it. So I don't think if lawyers are detained, they have to cancel honors for a fellow lawyer, a Bâtonnier for that matter. So I don't see it as a good thing, a good measure, not a good measure. There are other ways in which they can do to table their points, to table their frustrations and anger, but not to cancel the honors of somebody who defended that same right that they're fighting for.
Of course, Mr. Bless, it's definitely because of the kind of struggle that late Bâtonnier Party was fighting. Notably at a time when he mediated between lawyers and the Ministry of Justice and Keeper of Seal to help save the face of lawyers before the judiciary police. Coming to think that it is after his demise that the situation have aggravated. Don't you see that the Bâtonnier and the Law Council have made a very important decision to withdraw his judiciary honors?
No, it's a very sad issue. Okay. It's a very sad issue, and I won't blame any side on that, because we have our, like my co-panelist said, we have measures that we can post our grievances, and nobody. The only way I know that the law stipulated that we should not use in expressing our grievances is looting.
Are you saying that they should go ahead and pay these judiciary honors to late?
I'm not saying so. Let me learn. They have their various ways of placing their demands to the government, of making the government hear their cry. You understand? Now, if they are cancelling
that homage that
they were supposed to pay to late Bâtonnier, you will understand that what is on ground is more bigger than the homage.
Of course, but that's what Mr. Ngate is refusing to see, that there is even a cause to consider.
I said it was very sad because it is happening in a very controversial moment, because that is a person that needed the homage and needed it more. Yes. You understand? Now, why is it happening? Because their right has been abused. Okay. What beget of them? When they pay that homage, then what will happen to them? Anybody can die at any time. Indeed. And the lawyers too are seeing that they need to stop it immediately. And if this is the case that they have to bring the government on a face-to-face dialogue with them, then they should do it, no matter how bad it is.
And lawyers say for 4 days they will not be going to court. They are going to cancel every appearance before any court, and later the case will be worsened with the criminal issues. It means that police station will no more have any lawyers?
I don't think I've heard of the lawyers' strike at the end of November to December. For me, I don't think it's practically a right decision. Each time we have a little issue, or maybe each time we have issues of our rights not respected, we cancel going to court. Okay. Who do we want to? Who are we penalizing practically? Who do we want to respect? I think that as a lawyer, you want to respect the rule of law. Instead canceling to go to court, I don't think it's a good measure. Look at Mr. Moderator. One thing, yes, my problem. We have grievances, we have these troubles, and no one is encouraging the grievances. They have their right. I am not a party to any crackdown on whosoever, lawyers, teachers, whosoever. I am not a fan to the brutality, but how do you table and channel your grievances? How does it affect is it the first time the lawyers are not going to court?
No, it's going to affect the government, because we have the regional election on the 6th of December, and there are post-electoral litigation that will need to be cleared. If lawyers are not there to accompany a politician in the Constitutional Council, it means that there will be no arbitration on electoral issues.
Anyway, I wish that all lawyers will not be there. I wish that all lawyers will not be there. But you and I know.
The Bar Council is the highest judiciary body as far as the law body is concerned. So there is no way that the Bar Council can take a decision and other lawyers defy, especially before the court.
Have lawyers not defied?
We have seen lawyers opening their private chambers but not appearing in court.
Now, Mr. Cyril, let me come in from there. Now, I would like to say that the bar, as you rightly said, is the highest authority when you are a member under the Bar Council of Cameroon. Now, when the bar sits and take decisions, you lawyer don't dare to go against that decision, especially when you are a bar member. And I don't think you are a fully recognized lawyer in this country without being inside the bar. I will take another example, like the SNES in the University of Boya. When the SNES president speaks, he has speaking for the VC. In 2016, when the lecturers went on strike, when they came and they was paying their dues, they said not pay the vice chancellor. He said, what can you be? You understand? So I just want to let our televiewer know that the bar, when it takes decision, it cut across every lawyer, every certified lawyer in Cameroon. Your chambers can be open, but you need not go to court. And what are my implications? Because what are the implications to the government or to the civil society? Right. I know that's the next question you want to ask me. Now the implication is, if you need somebody and the person does not come, no matter who is gaining or who is losing, you want that person. Okay. Now, if the lawyers don't go to court, they don't go to police station. Police station will be choked up with detainees. Yes. And as the country is concerned, as the constitution is concerned, you don't have to spend more than 4 days in a police cell.
24 hours.
24 hours. After 24 hours, you have been taken to the state council for a year and then proceeding to court. Yes. Now, if the lawyers are not there, nothing can happen. That is the other procedure cannot function. That is why I'm saying that we need a system. Put aside at stake. That's why I'm saying that. That's what I'm trying to say here, that Mr. Moderator, we are in a system that needs to flow. When the input is stagnant, there will be no output. When the output is blocked, the input will come until it will overflow, it bounce, and there's problem. And I want to remind you that nobody, the Cameroon is. I used to say that. My friends know me. I'm one of the people that even if I study, I must come back to this country, come and be in this country. No place in the world is beautiful like Cameroon.
After you, Mr.
But if you see how it's happening like this, it's because change is something that we cannot hold.
Of course.
Thank you.
After you, Mr. Bless, Mr. Ngate, let's talk about the FACO Lawyers Association that has a new executive now. Do you think it's going to change the state of judiciary within FACO?
Mr. Moderator, can I come in?
You can react.
I want to react
to his comments.
My co-panelists talked about things that cannot happen. Okay. For example, he quoted, if you are arbitrarily arrested, you are not to be detained more than 24 hours. Yes. In the police. Yeah, in the police and all the rest. Yes. We often think that maybe when these strikes are cut off, it will harm only the government. Imagine a young man that is arbitrarily arrested now, and he has no lawyer to sit in for him. What happens? He stays there. Yes. He stays there. Imagine those who need lawyers now in this particular case. Maybe because the elections are coming up and we just think about elections and election matters, and we think that okay, maybe it will harm the government. I want to think of the implication on the common Cameroonian. For example, if I'm arbitrarily arrested now, I request
we don't wish that for
no,
you.
Not for me. Okay. I'm taking myself like the young man on the street. I have a right to a lawyer, right? Yes. I have a right to a lawyer. But since the lawyers are calling a strike, what happens? I cannot go to court, so I'll remain there. So the young people, during that particular time, those who are arbitrarily arrested will remain there, and their case might stay.
But are you shining your face on the pot of contention that is existing between lawyers, auxiliary of the justice, and the judiciary arm of the government?
Mr. Cyril, I have said here times without numbers, I don't subscribe or ascribe to the treatment that is given to lawyers.
Okay.
But
But you should call it denounce it.
I denounce it. I said it here. But I take concern, or my concern is the way we table we've just quoted, lawyers are not going to be in court from the 30th to about early December.
Yes, on the 4th.
And given that people need lawyers, how would they do? Forget about the government.
We cannot forget the government because it is a main stakeholder here.
The government is a main
partner.
The government
and that's their own way to bargain.
The government is a main stakeholder.
I'm coming to you, Mr.
The government is a main stakeholder. Yes, the government will be penalized in a way since election, whatever. But what about the common man?
I'll be back to you, Ms. Angate.
No,
Mr. Bez, do you understand this language of using the hammer all the time to nail on people?
I would like to say that when we keep on pushing the blame on individuals, when these issues of lawyers are concerned, it is the individual will be held responsible, but the greater responsibility will go to the government. And let me make my point clear. When sales are beginning to choke up, what happens? A lot of things happen. You think the government does not? Yes, human rights violation. You think the government does not lost points? The government lost on daily basis. Cameroon is a signature of human rights in the United Nations. It loses. It loses at that point. Okay, me as a young man, you know how many millions the government has spent on my head from class 1 up to the level that I am. I owe duties to the government. I owe my own responsibility to this government. Then if I'm unlawfully detained and a lawyer does not come and I'm being killed or I remain there, it is not only the common man that loses. The government loses more. I will still give you another example, my co-panelists. Our master's program in UB will pay just 60,000 francs. Tuition in the university is almost free.
Which master, please?
Political science, classical masters.
Okay.
Now, our head of department made us understand that we pay just 50,000 francs. But the government is coming in with 6 million on each student.
On theoretical masters?
Classical masters.
When they say classical, it's just for the book.
Yes.
They are just reading notes.
Well,
that's not for another day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to. Gentlemen, permit us. Let us take our first topic of the day. We are talking about elections, justice, and freedom. What role